All right, let's talk about one of the biggest, most complex projects an IT team can tackle, tenant-to-tenant migrations. This is what happens when two companies become one, and you're suddenly faced with moving an entire organization's digital life. It is a huge, huge undertaking, and today, we're going to break it all down for you.
So, picture this. Your company just went through a merger. Congrats! But now, you've got two of everything. Two different email systems, two places for files, two sets of apps. The million-dollar question is, how do you get everyone under one digital roof working together seamlessly? Well, that's exactly the problem a tenant-to-tenant migration is designed to solve.
So before we get too far, let's make sure we're on the same page. What even is a tenant? The simplest way to think about it is as your company's own private, walled-off space in the Microsoft Cloud. It's your digital headquarters, and it holds everything, your users, your data, and all those services like Microsoft 365 and Azure.
To get our heads around this, we're going to treat it like a journey with 5 key stages. First, we'll cover the why. Then, we'll draft the blueprint. After that, it's all about prepping the assets, executing the actual digital move, and finally, what life looks like after the dust settles.
Okay, first up, why bother with all this? At its heart, this isn't just some technical project. It's a really strategic move to create a single, unified digital world where everyone from both companies can actually work together like they're one team.
The end goal sounds simple, but trust me, the execution is anything but. We want to consolidate everything, and I mean everything. Every single user, email, file, and app from the company being brought in, that's the source tenant, needs to move into your company's existing digital space, the target tenant.
And that brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most important stage of all, the blueprint. I'm telling you, a successful migration is pretty much decided by how well you plan weeks or even months before you move a single piece of data. This is where you win or lose.
A really solid plan stands on 4 pillars. First, you've got security. You have to align things like multi-factor authentication. Second is logistics. Do you actually have enough licenses for everybody? Third, it's about the people. You've got to communicate clearly so nobody's caught off guard. And last but not least, technology. Pick in the right tools for the job.
And that tooling decision, it is a big one. Microsoft gives you some native tools, and they're fine for smaller, simpler jobs. But for a big, complex migration, you'll be doing a ton of manual scripting. And that's where third-party tools are a lifesaver. Yep, they cost money, but the automation and support they provide can save you from some really painful headaches and downtime.
Okay, with our blueprint ready to go, it's time for Section 3, Prepping Your Assets. This is where we get down to the nitty-gritty, because you can't just treat all data the same. Your mailboxes, your custom apps, your cloud servers, they all have their own special needs for this move.
For the everyday stuff like email, Teams, and OneDrive, it's all about user identity. You have to go through and painstakingly map every single user from the old tenant to their new account in the target tenant. And it's critical that you finalize and then shut down directory synchronization in the old tenant to lock it all down before the move begins.
Now listen up, because this is a big one that catches so many people out. If you use Power Platform, your custom apps, your automated flows, and your chatbots will not move over automatically. It's a classic gotcha. Every single one of those assets has to be carefully packaged up and exported by hand.
This checklist just gives you a taste of the manual labor involved. You're exporting apps, solutions, chatbots, you name it. And that last item, the user mapping CSV file, do not sleep on that one. It's the Rosetta Stone that tells the new environment who owns what once everything gets imported. It's absolutely vital.
So what about the really heavy-duty stuff in Azure, like your virtual machines and databases? Well, this is where it gets even more complicated. There's no Move button you can just click to transfer these things from one tenant to another. It actually requires a pretty clever workaround.
And the workaround is honestly kind of brilliant. Instead of trying to move the resources themselves, you move the entire container they're sitting in. So first you shuffle the resources into a temporary subscription, and then you just transfer that whole subscription over to the new tenant. It's not direct, but it works perfectly.
All right, deep breaths. All the planning, all the prep, it all leads to this moment, the digital move itself. This is the cutover, the main event. It's a super choreographed, usually weekend-long series of technical steps where you make the migration happen.
The final countdown kicks off about 72 hours before go time. That's when you pre-verify the email domain in the new tenant. Then, at the 24-hour mark, You do something called lowering the DNS time to live, or TTL. It's a little technical tweak that basically tells the internet to check for updates more often, which makes the final switch on migration day happen way faster and keeps downtime to a minimum.
On the day itself, it is all about the domain name. First, you stop new emails from hitting the old tenant by changing its mail record. Then, like a surgeon, you disconnect that domain name from every user, group, and resource it's attached to. Once it's free and clear, you officially add it to the new tenant. And the final step? You flip the mail record to point to its new home, and just like that, email starts flowing again.
The data is moved, the email is working, you'd think you can finally relax, right? Well, not so fast. The job isn't done yet. This final stage is all about making sure people can actually get their work done in their new digital home. And this support is just as important as the move itself.
That first week is absolutely critical. It's basically all hands on deck for user support, fixing access problems, relinking shared files in Teams and SharePoint, and keeping a very close eye on the security of your new, much bigger, unified environment.
And, being ready for the common problems is half the battle. For instance, users are almost guaranteed to get errors when they reply to old emails. The fix? They just need to clear their Outlook autocomplete cache. App connections might break and need to be relinked, and if someone can't get into Teams, 9 times out of 10, it's a licensing issue. Having a playbook for these little bumps makes everything so much smoother.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most important thought. The move might be finished, but the journey of managing this new combined environment has really just begun. You have a larger attack surface, new complexities to deal with, and so the question you have to keep asking yourself is this: is our security posture really ready for this new landscape?